Welcome to another edition of the Hoop Scoop. I'm Jarret Johnson. I'm joined by the mighty Joe Yeager. Well, mighty Joe, man, there's a lot going on campus right now. Of course, you can hear motorcycles, buses going, you can see them going by. It's beautiful day here, and of course, there's a basketball game going on here pretty soon.
That's right, man. And walking up here, Tent City is over there, man. You got like Shantytown or Raiderville or whatever, and it looks like there's hundreds and hundreds of students over there. So, yeah, and I think it probably does have something to do with the little game that's coming up tomorrow night.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Some of the things coming out on social media, like Joey McGuire, of course, football coach, handing out tacos. You had Drew Steffi, the recent commit, the 2023 commit. His dad sent like a whole bunch of pizza out. They had a GoFundMe for like $10,000 to help feed these guys over here. I mean,
I need to go sit in Tent City. I'd eat better then than I do, now.
Yeah, but we'd be like that gif with Steve Buscemi, like, how you doing, fellow kids? I don't think we would fit in. But they recognize Mighty Joe in the fedora. But, obviously Texas and Chris Beard coming back Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Central Time. Game's going to be on ESPN, of course. Center stage of college basketball. Texas Tech is on a roll. They're looking good, but so is Texas. Just give us an overview, Mighty Joe, what you're expecting to go down here Tuesday night.
Well,
it's
two teams that statistically are almost identical in a lot of ways. I mean, in terms of offensive and defensive efficiency, you couldn't slip a piece of paper between them because they are that close in that regard. Both teams obviously very, very good defensively. Not quite as good offensively, better than you might think, actually, at least statistically.
Yeah.
Tech scores a little bit more, about 5 points per game more than Texas does, but Texas holds teams to 5 points less per game than Texas Tech does. So if you're getting the feeling that this could be kind of close maybe, at least statistically, then you're on the right track. One advantage that Texas Tech does have, and I think this could be crucial, is Tech is a better rebounding team than Texas. Texas, I believe, is maybe +3 rebounding margin. Tech is over +7. So that's going to be a big deal, and I think the key to this game for Texas Tech probably is going to be defensive rebounding because Texas, they don't score it extremely well. I mean, it's 68 points a game, which is okay, but I mean, you're facing Texas Tech's defense, and you struggle a little bit to score. And if you're not letting them get second chances, you're sealing off and walling off that defensive glass. That's going to make it that much more difficult for them to get enough points to hang with Texas Tech. So I really believe defensive rebounding could be the key for Texas Tech in this game.
One big difference between these two, in my opinion, is the level of competition they face. I mean, I feel like Texas Tech's played a lot tougher competition. Like, I don't even know if Texas has played Baylor or Kansas yet, in Big 12 play. And just out of comp, they didn't play Gonzaga, you know what I mean? They didn't go to Providence. Now, I know they just played Tennessee, and it was a similar result, really. Very close game against two of the top defenses in the country. But it just seems like Tech may be a little more battle-tested than Texas going into this game.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. That's a great point. I mean, up to this point in the conference schedule, Texas has played probably the easiest conference schedule of all the Big 12 teams, where Texas Tech has played maybe the most difficult. That is a factor. Texas has actually a nice win over Stanford, which is better than people expected them to be this year. But, I mean, they lost to Seton Hall as well. And Seton Hall, I mean, they're a tough Big East team, but I mean, they're probably not as good as Providence. I mean, they're certainly not ranked, and Providence is around 15, 16, 17 in the nation right now. That Providence loss was not what you'd call a bad one, particularly at their place. Scheduling-wise, I would say that Texas Tech has definitely been more battle-tested. You go into Baylor and beat those guys. I mean, Texas has never done anything like that on the road this season. And they're going to be coming into a place that is 10 times more hostile than what Baylor was for Texas Tech. So it's they've got a job on their hands.
Yeah, sticking with that, we've seen some pretty crazy atmospheres here at the USA. I mean, even before Beard got here, I remember that when Tubby Smith was here, that Oklahoma State game, the Marcus Smart game, of course. I mean, that was a crazy atmosphere. And you've seen things before, going back. Some crazy atmospheres here in Lubbock. Where do you expect this to rank on that list?
The top.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. I mean, this potentially could be the most crazy, the most intense sporting event in Texas Tech history.
Wow.
Period. Football, basketball.
Are you talking about even postseason?
Meat judging. Yeah. Well,
just here on campus.
No, I mean here on campus.
Yeah.
I mean, well, it's hard in terms of significance or anything like that. I mean, nothing can compare to playing in the national title game, right? And but yeah, I mean, as far as it's just the mayhem is going to be unimaginable for this game, and it's going to be kind of nerve-wracking and for everybody concerned, because I mean, there's just going to be so much emotion, and you hope that nobody does anything stupid.
Yeah, that's where I'm
because
at,
I mean, it's possible. I mean,
Yeah.
look, there's a reputation with this fan base in football, and it's probably more football than basketball, of doing things that get themselves in trouble. They get the team in trouble sometimes as well. So I mean, with this one, and particularly, if the officiating starts going badly against Texas Tech, I mean, you talk about raid or riot. You were talking about really a serious riot. So I'm a little bit concerned by this.
Yeah, and on a serious note, I've said this on the board, I've said this on Twitter, on the radio, that I hope it's, and you and I talked about this before, the best crowds, no matter what it is, it could be a rock show, sporting event, whatever, you have that fear of the mob where anything could happen. That hint of fear is in the air, lingers in the air, but nothing actually happens. Right. No one gets hurt. No one says anything too crazy out of bounds to like really offend someone, like where that's just wrong. He shouldn't have said that. He or she shouldn't have said that. But I just really hope that doesn't happen. All it takes is one yokel who's too liquored up, to like you said, a couple of bad calls, things aren't going their way. And I just really hope that doesn't happen, because this is a great place. I mean, one of the great things about Lubbock is just the people are salt of the earth. What a great university it is. I mean, you and I spent so much of our times of our life here and love this place. I just really hope that, they represent the university and the community well, because that the national media, and especially those self-righteous people in Austin, are just have that story ready to publish right after the game.
They're just got the finger over the hit send key right now, and they're just hoping. Yeah. So don't give them any reason.
Right.
Make them mothball that story permanently. I'm sure that the security presence is going to be pretty intense, and you see that sometimes at games anyway. But I mean, certainly they're going to take every reasonable measure that they can to ensure that nothing happens. But just listen, I mean, just don't throw anything out at anybody out of the court, And so, but just to be loud, be intimidating, do all that stuff. But stay within. Don't hurt anybody. Don't hurt the university. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt the team. You know what we're talking about, and so that's what you hope happens.
All right. So give us a guy for Tech that you think is going to be pivotal. That really, I know they're deep and it's a different guy every night, but who do you think has to have a good game in order for Texas Tech to handle their business against Texas?
Well, I mean, I think the guy that is coming on more and more right now is Kevin O'Banner.
Yeah, he really is. Yeah.
I mean, basically I looked at it statistically, the last 7 games, he is really, really emerging. He's more and more of a consistent scoring threat. Yeah. He hit a couple of nice threes, in this last game. So maybe that is coming around. I mean, this could be could be the game. This could be really his coming out party, where he just, and if he's capable of going off for 30. He did it at Oral Roberts, right? He could do that here. And so, I mean, if he steps up and has a huge game on the offensive end, and a game that's probably going to be something of a grinder, then that could make all the difference. That could blow this thing open. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm kind of keeping my eye on O'Banner and see what he does.
And that made me think, O'Banner's coming on. Bryson Williams has played at an all Big 12 level. I mean, he's been unstoppable at times. You don't double him. It doesn't matter who it is. Yeah, it's a bucket. And then he's been stepping out and knocking down open threes too. So Williams has been as advertised. O'Banner's coming on. He's done a lot of things even without his shooting touch really being there from last year. And then you throw in Marcus Santasilva, how his game has evolved, and then Batcho's emergence. I mean, in my opinion, in my lifetime, I mean, they had some really good interior players. But in terms of an entire front court, this is as good as I've ever seen at Texas Tech, 4 deep.
Yeah, that quartet, they're really, really good. And what I really like about them is they're all pretty doggone good passers.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
true.
Batcho is a really slick passer. Yeah. But all those, Marcus Santos, now they'll turn over the ball. Okay, sure. I mean, if you're a big man, you're going to turn the ball over occasionally, and that happens. But these guys, share the ball with one another
Yeah.
very, very well, very effectively. And that's why, or one of the big reasons, Tech scores so many points in the paint, because they get the ball in there, and then rather than go up and shoot a contested shot, they find the other guy on the other side of the lane, easy layup. So these guys, as passers, are really, really good. And, it'd be interesting to see, and I don't know if it will ever happen or not, but Mark Adams go really old school and roll with 3 bigs.
Whoa.
Because, I mean, you remember back in the 80s and before, that was the common play. You had a center, you had a small forward, a power forward, shooting guard, point guard. But you never see that anymore.
Right.
And a lot of guys only run with 1 big and 4 guards.
Sure.
So, I mean, it would be interesting. I mean, I think you could potentially play 3 of those guys at the same time, depending on the opponent. And I'm curious to see if that may happen at some point. When you got 4 guys that are that good, I mean, it might make a little bit of sense just in spurts to see what happens,
Yeah, I like the idea. I also like what you said about their ability to pass, and this is what I want to end on, because I think this has been talked about probably the least. I know you talked about it. I wrote about it recently, is this unselfishness that permeates through the team. I mean, you see it, whether it be McCullough or Shannon, all the way down the list. This team has been really unselfish this year, and I really believe that's the key to their success. I think that's the key to Mark Adams and his staff's job, how they've been able to do what they've done so far. And I think it's one of the main reasons, beyond the talent, obviously, and all that, that I think this team has a chance to hang some banners this year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, particularly with these transfers who've come in. These were all big-time scorers, 16, 17, 18, 19, like Davion Warren. I mean, he was one of the leading scorers in the country. And so to get all those guys to buy in to the unselfishness and, okay, no longer am I the superstar, nobody on this team is really. You don't have anybody averaging more than 14 points a game, and that's Bryson Williams. But you got a bunch of guys who are averaging right around 10, and so every night, it's somebody else who steps up. Somebody is going to step up. And so that's great. Everybody gets their glory. But maybe it's just one game here, one game there. And you're satisfied with that. And everybody seems to be buying into that. And the unselfishness is real. And it makes Texas Tech a much more difficult team to defend. When you have to defend all 5 guys on the court rather than one guy who can go off for 20 or 25. That's different. It's hard.
And to game plan for, you can't just say, okay, if we stop this guy, no, it's this guy or that guy. And you know what? And obviously, if the team has success and the kind of success Tech is enjoying, there's going to be enough glory to pass around, All right, now finally, we normally do this for football, game predictions. I'll go ahead and jump out there. I think Tech wins a close one. I do think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be really tough. Tech in Texas, low-key, has been very physical the last handful of years anyways. I expect, much of the same, and I think Tech wins, 5 or less points. It just depends on how the end shakes out.
That's a very, very possible scenario. But, I've got a funny feeling about this game that at some point, Texas Tech is going to get on a bit of a run. All right, and it's going to be fueled by that crowd. And, I mean, all it's going to take in this sort of a game between 2 really good defensive teams is for one team to really go off on a 12-0 run or something like that, and then it's basically over, And I've got a feeling that this is going to happen at some point, and I see Tech winning this by, let's say, 14 points.
Wow.
Mighty
Joe, I got to say, I like your prediction better than mine, but either way, as long as they get the W, I think they have to win this game. I mean, based with all the weight that's on this game. So, Mighty Joe, man, great stuff from you as always. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you all for watching, and until next time.